Hello students, I am Professor Urvish Mewada, HOD Electrical Department, Sri Swaminarayan Institute of Technology, Bhat Gandhinagar. I am the subject matter of Industrial Instrumentation subject, which is in the 7th semester Electrical Engineering, and GTU subject code of this subject is 2170913. Students, we are currently discussing the chapter number 5, that is pressure measurement, and this is our lecture number 4. In last lecture, lecture number 3, we have discussed the methods of pressure measurement, in which we have discussed the piezoelectric pressure transducer. So we discussed in detail the principle that that obeyed by the piezo electric pressure transducer, and we discussed in detail the construction and working of piezoelectric transducer. Also we discussed the advantages, limitation and application of piezoelectric transducer for the pressure measurement. And then after we discussed the next method, that is capacitive pressure transducer for the pressure measurement, in which we also discussed the principle and the detailed derivation that followed by the capacitive pressure transducer. Also we have discussed the advantages and disadvantages related to the capacitive pressure transducer. Now this is our topic number 8 and lecture number 4. So this is the last lecture of this chapter. Now in this lecture we are going to study the pressure measurement technique, and the sixth pressure measurement technique is McLeod gauge. Now over here you can see that McLeod gauge pressure transducer. So basically it is a specific instrument which used to measure very low pressure, and we can say down to measure very low pressure, and it is down to 10 raised to minus 6 torr, where torr is the unit of pressure. Now basically this pressure measurement transducer, or this uh, McLeod gauge, basically follows the Boyle's law. So Boyle's law is also called as the Marriott's law, and a relation which concerning the compression and expansion of a gas at constant temperature, and this empirical relation which is formulated by physicist Robert Boyle, and it is invented in 1662. So it states that the pressure means we are denoting pressure over here is with P of given quantity of gas, which varies inversely with its volume V. Here we define V as a volume, and at constant temperature, and that the equation which follows by this Boyle's law is PV is equal to K, and where A is the constant, where K is the constant, and the relationship that we can form after the statement, that is P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. And the relationship was also discovered by the French physicist Adam Marriott. So that's why this law is also called as the Marriott's law. Now in this principle you can see that whenever the pressure applied to this initially the pressure is means zero, at that time the volume inside this chamber is maximum, and then after, once we apply the pressure through any actuating device, over here you can see that, or once we give a temperature to this particular setup, so as the temperature increases, so this uh, the material which is present inside this setup will get expand due to the temperature. So as we increase the initially suppose pressure, then the volume will decrease, and once the pressure is minimum, at that time volume is maximum. So here, from here we can also say that P is proportional to 1 over V. So it is reciprocal to each other. So P is proportional to 1 over V, means once volume increases, pressure decreases. and once the pressure increases, volume will decrease. So this is the animation which shows the actual means working function of the Boyle's law. And this means Boyle's law having one equation that we already written over here, that is P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. Now let us discuss the construction and working of this particular setup. This is only a means animation that defines the Boyle's law. Then after, what is actually a McLeod gauge work, that we'll discuss in the next slide, and the detailed diagram of this McLeod gauge is also shown in the next slide. So first of all, we'll start with the construction and working. It is connected to the, say, unknown gas whose pressure is to be measured. So this tube or McLeod gauge we can connect with where we need to measure the pressure, and the gauge enters means gauge through B, and it fills the tube down to the level of the mercury reservoir. So we will see the detailed diagram, then after you will be more clear about the statement. The pressure is, say, equal throughout the tube. So whenever the pressure is not applied, at that time both tubes having the equal pressure, and the bulk mercury pumped by the, say, from the reservoir G. And as this mercury pumped by the reservoir G, so it will raise above the cutoff, and it traps the gases inside the bulb. And that's why the mercury allows the mercury level to rise till the means reaches a zero reference line on the closed capillary tube, and which the mercury raises faster in, say, open capillary tube A. And that's why the gas compression in the closed capillary tube makes the pressure of trapped gas higher than the measured pressure. So over here in this diagram you can see that this is the point from which we are having the means we have the open in to the unknown pressure B, and this is the setup of McLeod gauge. Over here you can see that closed capillary in which we have this bulb H, and the mercury reservoir, this is mercury reservoir G, and this is the open to capillary A, and this is a point where the mercury if the mercury level will rise, it will trap the gases, and once the mercury level will go up, it will trap the gas and it will create a pressure, and this tube will show the difference of the, say, over here this is the height which acquired by the mercury, and this is the compressed gas of height HO. So this is open to unknown pressure, and the scale will measure a height of this level of mercury due to the compression and the expansion of the gas which is pressure present inside the tube. And this is how we can measure a pressure using McLeod gauge. So the difference in pressure which causes a difference in the mercury level and in these two tubes, and the difference in height is used to calculate the pressure of the means unknown pressure which we need to measure with the help of this McLeod gauge. Over here this which shows that the before measurement, this is the point where we are indicating that this is the before measurement, and B is the during measurement. So after once the mercury level will get rise, and it will trap the gases, and it will form the pressure inside means on the gases. So sorry, due to the means inlet pressure that we need to measure, the mercury level will get rise, and this the height of this mercury will indicate the value of the inserted pressure, unknown inserted pressure inside the McLeod gauge. So this is how the McLeod gauge works. Now let us check the equation related to it. The pressure can be calculated by this following equation, where P is equal to K into H into H0 into 1 minus KH, where P is the measured pressure and where K is the constant that we already discussed in the Boyle's law statement, which is determined by the geometry of the gauges. Also H is the difference in height of the two mercury columns, and H0 is the height of the top of the closed capillary tube, the say line marked on the tube. So this is the two quantity that that we discussed in the previous slide in the diagram B. Once the means mercury level will get rise, and this two will get set a level, and from that we can get the value of the pressure that we are inserted, or through means to which we have connected our burden tube to measure the unknown pressure. Now basically McLeod gauge is designed to measure as low as say 0.05 micron to microns to 0.00005 torr. So basically for the low pressure measurement, this is one of the suitable gauge to measure the unknown pressure. Now let us discuss the application related to this McLeod gauge. So it is used to measure a vacuum pressure. So this is one of the application of this McLeod gauge, and the advantages of the gauge is it is say independent of the gas composition. So there is no means any adverse effect of the different gases that we use to trap the means that we use to measure the pressure of the unknown quantity, and it serves a reference standard to calibrate other low pressure gauges. So that will be more useful to measure an accurate value of the pressure, and a linear relationship which exists between the applied pressure and H. So due to this linearization we can means there is no chances of the generation of the error. So also no need to apply the correction in the reading. So the reading shown by this gauge is say errorless reading. So that's why this gauge is very useful to measure low pressure, and there are certain limitation of this gauge. So the limitations of this gauge is, first limitation is that the gas whose pressure is to be measured should obey the Boyle's law. So that we already discussed in the starting of the theory. This gauge follows the Boyle's law, and if the gas is not following the Boyle's law, so we cannot measure that unknown pressure of that gas with the help of this McLeod gauge. Now the second limitation is the moisture traps must be provided to avoid by considerable vapor into the gauge. So we need to protect this this McLeod gauge from the moisture, and it measures only say a sampling basis. So means no need to insert a like a large quantity inside. So it will only measure with us this on the basis of sampling, and it cannot give the say continuous output, because it will take some time to get stable once the unknown pressure is being inserted inside the McLeod gauge. So these are the limitation of this gauge, and this is how we can understand the working function, limitation, advantages and disadvantages of this McLeod gauge. Now in this we have the last theory of this chapter is Pirani gauge. So let us discuss the Pirani gauge, how Pirani gauge will work. So from this we can see that this is a balanced bridge on which we have to vacuum system say under test. So the system which we need to means this is the gauge from which we can measure the unknown pressure, and this is the whole setup of the Pirani gauge, and where A is the say measuring cell. This is the portion which indicates that this is the measuring cell, and B is the reference cell that, to which we are comparing our quantity. So we need a reference to measure an accurate value of any from the any of the device. So this is the reference cell, and this graph shows that the pressure versus the bridge unbalanced current, that is in microampere. So once the pressure increases, the bridge will get unbalanced, and so as it will produce an output current across this galvanometer. So this will show the deflection once the pressure means inserted inside the tube, and as pressure increases, the current which is passing through this uh, balance arm will get increased, and so as we can measure this in terms of electrical output, means we can measure a pressure in terms of electrical output. So let us discuss the Pirani gauge for the low pressure transducer. So a pressure below atmospheric pressure, say may be called a low pressure of vacuum. So it can be measure a pressure below the atmospheric pressure, so that is also that can be that we can say that it is a low pressure. Now it is say in this gauge the temperature of wire is say determined by the measuring the changes of the resistance. So that we already discussed, we have the four balanced resistance. When we have not applied any pressure, so at that time the resistances of each arm will means will be equal, means will remain same. So this galvanometer will show the null, and once we applied a pressure, so the resistance of this gauge will change, and once the resistance will get changed, this balanced bridge will get unbalanced, and due to an unbalancing of this bridge, this galvanometer will show the deflection according to the applied pressure. So the Pirani gauge generally employs a single filament. So over here we can see that this is the filament that we use to measure pressure in the form of four foil wires. So this is the bridges that we are using, that means the arms that we are using to measure a pressure. That wire is of tungsten, so it is a material basically we are using over here, or platinum, which are connected in parallel. So both are connected in parallel, and which is enclosed in the glass tube. So in this this is the whole means setup of this gauge is in the glass tube or chamber, and whose pressure is to be measured. So over here we are inserting a pressure, so means it so we can say it is means properly protected through any outside pressure. So that's why it is made up of say glass tube, or say a chamber in which we can perform this measurement. And a surrounding pressure means changes the filament temperature, and hence the resistance also changes. So whenever the pressure will change, so the filament temperature will change, and due to the expansion and the compression, the temperature will change, and so as the resistance also change, and the resistance change are measured by the bridge circuit. So in this bridge circuit we are just measuring a change in the resistance due to the applied pressure, due to the applied unknown pressure, and the galvanometer is calibrated in terms of pressure. So this is the galvanometer which is already we use the calibrated galvanometer in terms of pressure. So the reference cell which is means used for the temperature compensation. So if any means extension of the means increasing of the temperature of say prescribed level, then it can be compensated with the help of this compensating or reference cell, and the range is say 10 raised to minus 5 to 1 torr. So this is the range of this gauge. There with the help of this gauge we can measure this pressure. And the advantages, let us discuss the advantages of this Pirani gauge. So it is rugged and accurate than thermocouple vacuum gauge. So this is one of the biggest advantage of this Pirani gauge. And the fast response against the pressure gauge. So whenever this the unknown pressure is applied to this closed tube, so so as the temperature will change, so as the resistance will change, and according to the change in the resistance, this bridge will show the output. So also it is say wider pressure range. So it has the wider pressure range, so we can use for the means where we require a more change in the pressure, so we can use this gauge for the pressure measurement. And the fourth advantage of this Pirani gauge is to possibility of say remote reading when used to process control. So yes, we can use this output in terms of electrical energy. So we can use it from the remote station, and we can grab that data on our means system. So it is very viable to use it at the remote station for acquiring or means getting data of the the unknown pressure or the changes in the pressure with the help of this Pirani gauge low pressure transducer. Now let us discuss the disadvantages of this Pirani gauge. So the disadvantage of the Pirani gauge, it requires electrical power. So yes, we cannot use this gauge means where the electricity is not available. So this is the biggest limitation of this Pirani gauge, and also it needs an individual and frequent calibration of the different gases. So yes, according to the means type of gases, uh, means a device that we are using to measure a pressure, that we need to calibrate according to the type of gas. So these are the disadvantages of the Pirani gauge. So this is how we can understand the working function and the principle of this Pirani gauge for the low pressure measurement. Also, this is how you can explain the advantages, disadvantages, and whole theory of this Pirani gauge. Now, this is the exceptional theory, means additional theory, that is that can be asked in the GTU, means still it is not asked in the means GTU exam. So but still we are covering this theory over here. So the theory number 8 for the pressure measurement, that is LVDT for the pressure measurement. Basically in GTU exam, LVDT means working function of LVDT is been asked for the displacement measurement only, but this is the exceptional theory. It can be asked that in terms of pressure measurement. So please read it carefully, read the question carefully, and what function of the LVDT is required. So let us discuss the LVDT for the pressure measurement. So over here you can see that this is a setup of LVDT, and which is connected with over here AC excitation, and this is the AC to DC converter, and this is the output voltage. And the movable core, we have already discussed the LVDT, in which we have discussed the construction that LVDT having one primary winding and two secondary winding. The two secondary winding both are connected in differential manner, and in means in between, or we can say through that windings, I mean that windings are wounded on the former, and former is having a hollow construction in which we can pass the core, and we can move the core means linearly. So this is the core, movable core of this LVDT, and this core is moving with the help of this bellow over here. So once the pressure is inserted from this side, this bellow will get expand, and once the expansion of the bellow occur, due to the expansion of this bellow, this core will move, and according to the movement of the core, this the the EMF will produce in the means in the secondary of the winding. So according to that displacement, we will get the differential output from this LVDT. So let us discuss the principle, and then after we'll discuss the construction and working of this LVDT pressure transducer. So the principle is that in this type of transducer, the self inductance of the coil, so over here we are applying the input supply over here at the primary, so it will produce the self-induced EMF of coil, or induced mutual inductance of the coil. So once the EMF, the flux will produce in the primary winding by after excitation, that flux will cut by the secondary winding, and secondary winding will produce the EMF accordingly. And we can use self inductance as well as the mutual inductance principle, and this pair of this coil is say altered in the value to the variation in the value of the input pressure. So let us discuss the construction of this setup. So the diagram shows which having the LVDT, and it has the primary winding that we already discussed, and two secondary winding, two secondary windings, and they are arranged, say allowed around the hollow bobbin or former, on which we can wind the wire. So this is the former which provides the support to the winding, and it is also called bobbin. and the bobbin is say non-magnetic, and the armature is connected to elastic bellow. So this bellow is having a property of, say, we can say, once we give the input pressure to this, so it will get expand, or due to its elasticity it will get stretched. And when armature is say at central position, so there is no output because both windings of the secondary side will produce the differential output. So once the core is at center, both winding will produce the same EMF. Yes, that we have already discussed that in the displacement measurement. So once the core is at center, so both winding of the secondary side will produce the same amount of EMF, so there is no output in the secondary side. But once this core will move in positive direction, or a negative direction, or means we can say in the right or left side, so any of that the winding will having more EMF compared to the either winding, so that it will give a differential output according to the movement of this core. So yes, there when armature is at central position, so at the null position the voltages of the both secondaries are the same. Now under the influence of this applied pressure, so once this pressure is applied, the bellow will get stretched or expand, and the length of the bellow which increase, which makes the armature move in the magnetic field, and due to the movement of the armature, the EMF will produce in the secondary side, that needs to be convert. So where we need to produce means process a signal, so it will convert means AC to DC through the in the DC, and then after that it can be measured in the display on the display. And the increase in voltage in say secondary coil and decrease the voltage in other. So once the any of the winding will get maximum EMF, either will get having the low EMF, or we can say zero EMF, because the movement of the core and the difference of the winding in the this two present the pressure in terms of electrical output. So that we already discussed. So whenever the core moves, this movement in the core according to the applied pressure or expansion of the bellow, movement of the core in we can check the electrical output of the according to the applied pressure on the shaft of this of the LVDT. And let us discuss the advantages of this system. So it possesses the high sensitivity. Yes, we know that as the core means a vary of a moment where the core moves, the EMF will change. So it possesses high sensitivity and say infinite resolution. Yes, that we have already discussed that this LVDT is having a good resolution, and it is very rugged in construction. Yes, because means we are using a core and a setup of say a winding and former, so it is providing a rugged construction to the LVDT, and it can tolerate a high degree of shock, so it can be used for the industrial purpose, and vibrations, so that make it viable to use in the industrial and without any adverse effect. So whenever such kind of vibrations or any shocks occur, so it will not change. Yes, it will not change its property, or we can say characteristic. So it make it viable to use in the industrial purpose. Also it shows low stresses, therefore repeatability is excellent. So yes, we can use this device repeatedly to measure the unknown pressure, and the output voltage is linear for say displacement about 5 mm. So we are having this limitation because a core is having a certain limit of say movement, so it is 5 mm. For 5 mm it produce a say linear displacement, and positive side and negative side it is stable and easy to align. Yes, this setup is say very easy to utilize and sorry and maintain because of the simplicity of the construction and small size. So we can take it wherever we need to use this device for the pressure measurement. Now let's discuss the disadvantage of the system. Is they are sensitive to the stray magnetic field, but shielding is possible. So shielding with the help of this shielding we can get the appropriate output from the this LVDT for the pressure measurement. And temperature affects the transducer performance, so we need to protect this device from the temperature. Also, large core displacement are needed to for the appreciable amount of differential output. So this is one of the biggest limitation of this LVDT. So on which we need to work if we need to measure a large quantity or large pressure displacement. Now, after this topic, you have the worksheet question and you have the assignment question. The worksheet question is what do you mean by the vacuum pressure, and the assignment questions are explain McLeod gauge for vacuum pressure measurement in detail and explain Pirani gauge in detail for the pressure measurement. The instructions which are related to the worksheet question and assignment question which are written below, please read it carefully. You can take the snap of this slide also. And if you have any doubt or query, we can solve your doubts and query in our doubt solving session. Also, if you have any further query or doubt, then feel free to call me anytime related to means to solve your queries and doubt related to this topic or the any of the means topic of the electrical engineering. So thank you very much, student. Thank you all. Jai Swaminarayan.